Howdy folks, it's your old modeling buddy Brian here with another episode of Boss Builds, where if you've been following along, you know I'm building the unpainted version of the 1/9 scale Avengers Hulk from Dragon. There's the unpainted version and the painted version, pre-painted version. I'm doing the unpainted one. They both require pop-together assembly, which I haven't done yet, but I have been painting. And here's where I am now. We've gotten this far. Now, if you've seen the last episode, you might be saying to yourself, well, isn't this where you were in the last episode, Brian? You had pre-shaded with black all the musculature, and then you painted a base coat of green over that. And that's what you did last time. So what have you done this time? Well, basically the same thing, although this time I added a little flat white to the base coat of the Gunzei Sangyo interior green to do some more highlighting. I had done the black undercoating or the black indentations there to bring out the musculature, and then I did the green on top of that, all using the trusty Tamiya HG Trigger airbrush, highly recommended. Huffed that all on there just to get the base coat on there, and what I did last time is added again just a hint of white, flat white, to the green, and just sort of hit the highlights using the airbrush at a very low setting. Just tried to get like the high spots on the muscles, which are, you know, all bulged out and round, so you want to hit the high spots there. And then I would go from the top like this, just to hit sort of the top surfaces of the muscles to get the lighter colors on top, which give you the effect of, you know, kind of like natural lighting, with the lighter parts being obviously on the top. And tried not to get anything into the nooks and crannies there, so they would stay kind of dark. And then just kind of, you know, did like an overspray on there to get just more depth, more of a 3D look to it, so it doesn't look so 2D or flat. The more colors you can get in there, the more depth you'll get, and hopefully it'll look more realistic. If I just did the black and the green on top of that, it's only two colors, so I was trying to go for a little more of effect there. And I got the legs here too. I'm bringing them up into there so you can see those. Did the same thing as from last time, just put the green on there and repainted, or not repainted, but put more paint on top of there just to highlight them and you know, hopefully make it pop a little bit more with some of the details. So the kit has great detail, and with some careful painting you can bring out that detail even more. Well, let's compare like we did last time, where I am at now. So I've got the Hulk. This is again the non-painted one, which I'm painting, and this is the pre-painted body, which I can hold here, and you can kind of get a little comparison of there. I still think I'm on the right track with the color, although the Dragon pre-paint is very nicely done, and it really brings the detail of the musculature out. I always thought the green was a little too limey, greeny, bright greeny type, so I went with a slightly more subdued green, this interior green, and I think so far I like mine better color-wise. And this coming from a guy who's red-green colorblind, but just to my eye it looks a little more realistic, less cartoony, which, you know, sounds funny when you're talking about a comic book character, but you know, it's from a live-action movie, and I didn't want it to look so comic booky. I wanted to try to make it as realistic as possible. So far I think I'm doing a pretty good job, and I like the color choices. Still got to do a lot of weathering, so it's probably going to end up being a little bit darker than this, which is one reason I kind of wanted to go a little lighter, because I'm going to do some dark washes and things like that to make the detail pop out even more, and of course to make him look roughed up and dirty like he's been fighting in the streets of New York. So yeah, there's the body comparison. I can also bring up some legs here, a leg by leg comparison, so you can see what's going on there. Here's what we got so far there. Well, they really got his feet darkened up and blackened up there, because of course again he is stomping through the streets of Manhattan fighting the Chitauri, as we see in the film. So again, I think looking good so far. Show you the other leg just so we don't leave anybody out. You know, basically Dragon and I had the same concept of doing the pre-shading and stuff on top of that. Or Dragon, I think, just sprayed on the dark stuff on top of their bare vinyl. So I'm doing a little bit different, the other way around. But yeah, so far so good. Get the original color on the bottom, because he's going to be nailed to a base, so it doesn't really matter what's going on there. the feet will be heavily weathered because obviously that's what he's stomping around with. Now the pants, I forgot to show you that last time. They seem to be some sort of jeans material looking things. I was almost to the point where I wasn't going to paint it. Whoops, as he slips out of here. I can take that out, the standard toilet paper roll holder. Once I get paint on things, I usually don't. I try not to touch it as much as possible because you're always going to get little scratches or abrasions or things on there. So I wasn't going to paint this to begin with because I thought it looked pretty darn good, but I don't know. The model building guy and me said, no, you can't have unpainted plastic vinyl showing on a model. So I went ahead and mixed up some of this color, which I thought was pretty close to the original color anyway. It's Gunze's Aqueous Mahogany color. And again, this was a semi-gloss color, and I didn't want any semi-gloss stuff on here. So I added in some of the flat base, which you can add to any of the Gunze's colors to make them flat, 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 as you see here. This was also a semi-gloss color, and now it's as flat as it can possibly be. And the pants too. So I mixed some of that, and using the same technique, just using the airbrush. Tried to stay top down, so the black pre-shading I did under that would still kind of stay under all the folds, and as you can see, it's still pretty black under there. So I just went from the top, blowing down, try to hit the high sections, like he's got his leg moving forward, so this part of his pants there are quite tight, so that would naturally be a little bit lighter. Any parts that are bulging kind of make lighter. There's little pockets there. So just went around, spraying on, trying to get it covered up. So I think it's turning out pretty well. So let's have a comparison of these pants, and this is the pre-painted pants here, which have a little more dynamic coloration to them. I don't know what I think they probably went and sprayed on a lighter color in spots over the basic color of the vinyl. But yeah, I'm still thinking mine's looking pretty good, and I'm going to weather and dry brush the pants up too. Pick out maybe the belt, which looks kind of just like a rope belt here. I guess it's stretched out belt, whatever it is. It's amazing how his belt doesn't break. Well, it's not even a belt at all. It's just part of the design of the pants. Try to catch those details, pick out the little rivets, because these do appear to be jeans. So far, I think my work is holding its own against the pre-painted work of Dragons, and you can do the same thing too if you've got the unpainted kit at home. So the pants are done. And so what's next? What am I going to do next? Well, it's make or break time. I am going to be working on the head and getting the face painted correctly. I'm just going to use black for the hair and use some dry brushing techniques. Probably use just a nice, this is like a 1/4 inch soft flat brush to paint the detail on there, or to paint the hair on there, and then go over that with some different shades, lighter colors, to get the dry brushing to help give it more depth. Which you can kind of see the effect now, because I did paint it black originally, and then some overspray got on it, so you can see it has like a nice dusty look. But of course, I will paint that the actual color. Then get in there on the face. The face obviously is the make or break portion of any figure kit. Get in there with the eyes. Luckily, he just has little tiny beady eyes, so that's not going to be too hard to get in there. I'll use a very fine point brush and just get in there and put in some white first. And then go back in and either use the brush or I even like using a toothpick. He's got very small irises and whatnot. I'll describe that process when I do it, but you just dip it in there and you can just get perfectly round irises. Of course, doing that process, you get a little slurf around the eyelids and all that, but that's okay, because then I'll just go back later with some different colors of the green, the base body color, and get the eyelids in there. So hopefully I'll be able to give him a sufficiently angry look. And get some good detail on what little eye he has there. Same with the mouth. Go in there with the small brush. I'll go back in and put black just in the interior there. Pick out the teeth. Do some pinkish stuff for the gums. A little bit different color for the lips there. So to get all that to stand out, probably go in and pick out the creases and all in here with some different shades of the green, just to get some definition and character on the face there. Same with the ears. So. Picking out all those details will be the next thing I want to do with this. And while I'm doing that, I'll probably work on the jeans too, with the rivets and all, as I mentioned before. And then at some stage, I'm going to assemble it all, probably right before I get to the weathering. I'll pop everything together, glue it all together actually, because as we mentioned before, I cut these things off. It has like the flange on there to make it snap fit. Well, I didn't want to, have to use too much force and monkey fist it together, as I said before. So I cut all the flanges off so they'll smoothly go together, and I can just glue them together like that. So that's coming up too. But I'll probably do the detail painting first so I can hold on to this, because as I mentioned before, I don't like touching the parts once they're already painted, because abrasion and all can get the paint off there. So yeah, for paintbrushes again, I'll be using this. I think this is a 1/4 inch flat. For some of the the hair eyebrows, maybe I'll go to a slightly smaller brush. This is probably 1/8 of an inch. It's a number 1. I don't know. Number 1 hobby brush. I guess that means, are they saying they're number 1, or that's the size? Don't know much about brush sizes. I usually just look at a size and buy it. But I'll go in there, do the eyebrows, and like that. And tiny pointy brushes. I've got another one like this, so I can get in there and pick out the whites of the eyes. And then once all that's done and I get them together, then I'll do the weathering, and we'll talk more about that there. Washes, do some black washes, dark green washes maybe to make the muscles pop out more, and then dust them up. And I'll probably have to sit down and look through the DVD Blu-ray again, just to see what kind of weathering he actually had at what points of the movie, and I'll pick the one that I like the best. If you've watched me build tanks before, I like a nice dusty. I don't really go too much for mud and that kind of thing, but I like dust, scratched up, dusty, those kind of things. So I'll review the Blu-ray and see what look for the Hulk that I like, and do that. Now, one thing, this is taking me. I started building this in October, something like that, and we had plenty of stock. Now we've sold all our stock, and this model is actually discontinued on our site. You can't buy it from us anymore. So those of you who did buy it from us, thank you very much. I hope you're watching along, and I hope some of this is helping you with your builds too. We still do have some of the pre-painted one in stock, which I was showing you here, this guy. And again, while I like to think I'm going to have a better result when I'm done, this is still very nicely done. It costs a little bit more than the unpainted kit, but if you don't have time to get on the workbench and do all this stuff, this is certainly a very nicely done kit. We've got the head somewhere too. I'll show you the head when I start doing mine, but it's very well done. But what we can talk about with this, as far as doing some of your own work, is once we get to the weathering stage, that's all perfectly applicable to this, because although this is nicely pre-shaded and all, it could probably use a little more weathering to make it a little more realistic. And once I get to that stage with my Hulk, which is coming soon, we can talk about how you can apply those same techniques if you have the pre-painted kit, which we still do have in stock. So we still have some of this if you want this magnificent Hulk kit. Well, all right, folks, that's where I'm at now. Probably for detail painting, I'm done with the airbrush for now. Everything I do now will be with brushes, do the detail painting, brushing on the washes and things like that. To get those details to pop. But when it's all said and done, the final thing I'll do is airbrush on a clear coat of flat, just to tie everything in together, knock down any shiny spots or whatever. But speaking of shiny spots, of course, eyes and teeth are usually shiny because they're wet. The final thing I'll do after that is I'll use my brush, tiny brush, and just dab on a little clear gloss on there, or even Future Floor Wax. It's got different names around the world, but it's an acrylic wax that people use for gloss finishes and things like that. I'll probably use that because it's easy to use, doesn't cause any stress. So that's where we are now, Brian and his Hulk. Hopefully I'll have his face and head all done, detail painted up next time I see you. So thanks for watching, and be sure to check out all our videos on hobbylink.tv. We also have Facebook. Check out our Twitter feeds and all that kind of stuff. And also, my boss, this is Boss Builds, but I have a boss too, that's Scott Hards, and he just finished his LFA, so he's going to have a video of his finished Tamiya Lexus LFA kit up very soon too, so check out for that, and we'll see you next time.